Yo, 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 welcome back to the Further Your Lifestyle podcast, conversations on lifestyle, passions, and hustles. My name's Chris Furlong, I am your host, and I'm so excited to introduce you to our guest for this week, and that is Andy Raynor, aka the FOD Runner. Now, I've known Andy for many years. We met via the running and YouTube community, and we've been best mates for a very long time, and always chit-chatting here and there, and I wanted to bring Andy over to the podcast simply because he's someone that brings such, I guess, joy, encouragement, and influence and inspiration in all that he's doing. Now, in this episode, we predominantly speak about, his running journey and, involving into the FOD Runner and his YouTube and all that jazz. But there's a lot of parallels in this episode which can reflect and play into how we manage our goals and how we pursue goals and how do we get things done. Now, obviously, he's someone that is really into hitting PRs, chasing those milestones, and achieving greatness in the running world, while at the same time, he is a family man, he's got multiple businesses, and he continues to show up and get the job done. At the time of this episode, he has roughly around 12,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, so he's got a lot happening. There's so many things happening, and I think that's what I love so much about Andy is he's a hard worker, a man full of integrity, and he's able to balance life, family, work, and all those great things. And it all really comes down to mindset and really just getting the job done by showing up each day. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, buckle up, get comfortable, grab a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever it is you like to do. We are on YouTube. We do have the video experience. Otherwise, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, and all those great places. So let's get into it. Andy, welcome to the Further Your Lifestyle podcast, mate. It is so good to finally have you on here. How are you doing today?
I am very well, thank you, mate. Pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to catch up once again. It always feels so good to talk to you, mate.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. And now, so it's currently 10:30 over there, over in, well, I guess I'll say London, but, you're further away from London. So
Yeah.
all the way the other side of the world, which is just crazy. Mate, how's your day been?
Yeah, it's been a busy start, busy morning, school runs, computer crashes, all of that sort of stuff. Computer fixing, I should say, trying to fix. But other than that, yeah, we're all good. We're all good.
Just another day at the office kind of thing,
Standard,
life,
mate.
work, and
Standard.
just just the usual things that we go through in life. Now that's cool, and I can understand that we have so many things going on. But let's hear about you, man. I mean, I know you do a lot of things. Obviously, the running being a big one, but you're also a
Mm,
businessman. You've got your own gigs and things that you're doing. So tell the
yeah.
audience who you are, what you're all about, mate.
So my name's Andy, and on YouTube and other social medias, I go by the alias of FOD Runner, so Forest of Dean Runner. So I'm based in the Forest of Dean over in the UK, and I'm a passionate runner, along with running multiple businesses, have three kids, a wonderful family, and live a really busy and hectic lifestyle. So it's just kind of living, I guess, what I would call a standard life for so many people, but just trying to fit in so much around that and have fun whilst doing it, but whilst being a little bit adventurous at the same time.
Yeah, no, you've summed it up well, and I think you're being quite humble, and you're not really saying how amazing you really are, because you've kind of just said you've got multiple businesses, you've got a YouTube channel, you've got three kids, you've got the wife, and dude, that's a lot, and
It's a
straight up,
lot.
straight off the cuff, like kudos to you, because three kids, multiple businesses, that in itself sounds like a handful, and let's be honest, your YouTube channel is it's nothing small. Like it's big and it's loud, and it takes a lot of effort, right? So I can
A
appreciate
lot.
that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What,
It
what,
feels some days I smooth sailing through the day. Sorry, sail smoothly through the day, and other days it just feels like tidal waves are coming at you left,
yeah,
right, and centre. So sometimes it all fits into place, and other times it's quite hard to juggle.
but that's life, right? I think
Yeah.
it's really cool to hear this, because a lot of the time we get so focused on highlight reels and what other people are doing, whether it's comparing YouTube's, Instagram, or even in the business world. But at the end of the day, we are just people. We all have lives, we all have different problems, issues, and there's always going to be someone behind us, and there's always going to be someone ahead of us, and you just got to keep treading your path, and
Yeah.
sticking to your guns, and chasing that passion, which passion for you is all about running, right? And obviously there's a lot of
Mm.
other things that we'll get into, but I know there'll be a lot of people here to listen from the running element side of things. So, I mean, where did the running journey even start? I mean, like, I know we've chatted about this so many different times, but running is it's a big conversation. But where or when was it that you found the running journey?
I think for me, it was just kind of a balancing act with the family. I've always been an active person. I've always enjoyed sports and things, and I always play football, soccer for people in other places of the world, and I love that. That's a real passion of mine. But it just didn't work with the kids and family. Working full time in the week, it was just hard going to then leave the family again on a Saturday. If it was a home game, it wouldn't be too bad. If it was an away game, you could be out a lot of the day. And I just kind of, my poor wife would have, these my two girls when they were younger, 9 to 5, well, 8 till 6 actually, because I was working long hours then, and
Wow.
then plus a Saturday, and it just wasn't fair. So I kind of got inspired from the London 2012 Olympics, kind of treaded water with a bit for 3 years, kind of in the back of my
Yep.
mind thinking, man, I should really. I did ran a couple of random half marathons in 2007, just like 2 runs a week, and I just thought I'll enter them on a whim. Did them, didn't enjoy them whatsoever because I wasn't trained for them, and I just parked running there. I didn't pursue it in any way.
Yep.
And I used to do a bit of running in pre-season just to train, and that was it. And then 2015, I just went, you know what, enough's enough. I got asked very kindly, and I'm still very grateful, to play at a bit of a higher level football than what I was playing
Okay.
at. So I was very local level, and then I got asked to play a little bit higher, and I was just kind of like the kid inside me went, "Oh my gosh, this will be incredible!" It's nothing good, but just the next step up. And
Yep.
I just thought, I can't do this because the away games are going to be longer,
Yep.
the home games are going to be longer, training is going to be more serious. This has got to stop. So I took up running. I just thought to myself, do you know what? Keep fit, do something that you can mold a bit better around the family. And so on January the 1st, 2015, I set about my running journey. I just thought to myself, that's enough. That was the last game of football I played.
Wow.
And then just literally, I've pursued running ever since. I love it because it keeps me fit, healthy. I can fit it around the family.
Yeah.
It's so much more adaptable, and I can really push myself so much more than I could in a football team.
Well, it's I mean, I've heard your story numerous times, but every time when you think about it from that, or after hearing that, it's there's so much emotion and there's a lot of sentimental meaning behind all that
Mm,
because you've really made that decision to compromise to ensure that you're going to have the best benefit for your family, which that's a big bold thing to
yeah.
do, and it obviously reflects the type of person that you are. So that's really 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 good of you. And so you actually have been running for a very, very long time then, but you've only really, when you say your running journey kind of started
Yeah.
in 2015, because you said prior to that you had done some half marathons then. So you've really, when did you actually first start? I mean, when did
To,
you
to
really?
2007 was the
Okay,
year that I
okay,
thought to myself, oh, do you know what? Rather than just play football, I'm actually going to play football and do a couple of runs a week.
yeah, yeah,
And so I did like 2 4 mile runs a week, and that was it. That's all
yeah,
I ever did. And then I just booked
yeah.
2 half marathons.
Wow.
And I did the local one here, the Forest of Dean half marathon, and that was a killer. I ran that in 1 hour and 59 minutes
Yeah.
and 57
Wow.
seconds. So I broke 2 hours by three
Jeepers.
seconds. And I had no understanding back then. Bearing in mind, running in 2007, like I was the only one running around here.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone, I get crazy looks. People, why are you running? It just hadn't blown up at that point. And then I did Cardiff half marathon, which is an hour from me, which is
Right.
flat and fast in the city of Wales. And I did that in 150.
Wow.
Everyone said to me, you'll knock off 10 minutes from your forest time. And lo and
Mm.
behold, that's exactly what I
Yeah.
did. But I did not enjoy it. I didn't, because I wasn't trained. I was just running
Yeah.
4 miles. I thought that was enough to go and then run
Yeah.
13 miles. And that, again, that was the last run I did before properly running
Yeah.
again in 2015. So, all right, in the summer, I might go out onto an industrial estate and do kind of some sprints, but that was all I
Yeah.
did. There
Wow.
was no mileage tracking. There was nothing. It was just all fast twitch kind of,
Yeah.
sprints, bleep test type stuff. Yeah, it was, yeah, hilarious. I had no idea what I was doing.
Well, dude, I mean, kudos to be able to just, casually doing 4 mile runs and then just go do half marathons, that's awesome.
It wasn't pleasant, I can assure you that.
Yeah.
If you'd have seen me, I was a state.
But I think that comes with, obviously if you're playing football, that comes with the fitness that's in that. So,
Yeah.
it's a given anyway. So it's not like you'd never ran before or you weren't a fit
Yeah,
person. So,
exactly.
that makes sense. But, that kind of alludes to the next point then is like, well, okay, you start, your running journey getting a bit more serious. So what does that even mean? Is it like the adaptation of goals or challenging? And obviously I know what you've done and where you're going and, everything in between. But, you know, when it comes to, like, for me, like when I started running, it was for weight loss. And then, I started to get into the goal stuff. So for you, when you say starting your running journey, what does it mean? Like, what did that entail?
It was goal setting,
Yeah.
100%. That's what it was. And I met up with a local personal trainer, and I said to him, I want to run a 110 half marathon by the end of the year. Little
Wow.
did I know how difficult that would be. Obviously, I've not even done that now, but
Yep.
that was just, again, it's a lack of concept of the sport. It was I'm a very passionate person when it comes to something I love, and I'll throw myself fully into
Yep.
it. And I had these kind of, I guess, jaded views of how quick I could get fit.
Yeah.
Um, and he wasn't a trainer in terms of a coach; he was more of a strength and conditioning.
Right.
And so that's kind of, and he just looked at me and went, "Well, all right, you better get running then." So I just kind of took it up 4 days a week, 5 days a week, and I just went out and ran every run hard. And
Yeah.
I think for me, I think that's standard for so many people. It probably was about 3 to 6 months in when I actually started looking on YouTube. Was
Yep.
my first source of inspiration, watching some of Sage Canada's early videos,
Yeah. Yeah.
trying to listen and understand to training, because I was wondering why I would go and run a 2 mile loop one day in whatever
Yeah.
time, and then the next day I wasn't beating it, and the next day I wasn't beating it, and
Yeah.
then a random day I would beat it. There was no concept, so I just kind of pursued the thought then of watching Sage's videos and then submerging myself in learning, understanding. You have easy runs, tempos, thresholds, intervals,
Yeah.
and starting to piece the puzzle together. And then I feel like after 6 months, goal setting became a bit more serious
Yeah.
rather than just going pie in the sky, 110 half. Right, no, okay, we ran a 2 hour and a 150 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's try and be something sensible. So then the first one was
Yeah.
142,
Yeah.
and then let's chip away from there. So that's kind of how it got more
Yeah.
serious.
It's funny, but as a fellow runner, for any of the audience that listening, it is the cliche when you start running and when you realize you enjoy running, you get so competitive against yourself, and you think, well, if in order to see progress, I've got to be going faster. I've got to do faster
Yeah,
next time. And I made the same
exactly.
mistake. And you build those bad habits because when then someone tells you, in order to go fast, you got to slow down. You're like, huh? it's like
Yeah,
it's like
what?
what
Why?
like in a and obviously once you get through that progress and go through the process of training, it still starts to come full circle and you totally understand it. But nah, dude, it's really cool to hear that once you realize where you wanted to be and setting those goals, it's super exciting because everyone runs for a different reason. And to hear that you really wanted to target on something is very exciting because
Mm,
sometimes we just need those additional things to pursue or chase in life. And I mean, for anyone that doesn't understand, an hour 40, or let alone a 2 hour half marathon is very good in my in my thoughts. And I know that you've chased a lot quicker than that along the path. So okay, so that's how you started, that's how you got into it. I mean, we're going to dive into a lot more of that when we talk about the YouTube stuff too. But I'm really curious because I know I've experienced this and a lot of people do, but there's always this love-hate relationship with running. Well, one, do you
yeah.
even agree? Yeah, okay, you agree with that. And and I think I would love to tap into that because you do. It's a roller coaster ride, whether you're training or not. But for someone that is always training, like you seem to do a lot of training and you're creating content about training. Do you ever find that it is you have those moments of hate or why am I doing this? And how do you get out of that? Because I think that's one thing, whether you're starting running or if you've been in the running game for a long time, it's always going to come. Obviously, if you've been time on feet for a longer time, it gets a bit easier to shake off. But yeah, let's dabble in that a little bit because it's quite an interesting topic.
I think, yeah, I think a lot of runners suffer with the whole love hate thing. And I think the best way I can describe it is that over time, it becomes less of a love hate and it becomes more of an understanding.
Yeah.
So I think with the whole love hate relationship, I used to have that because I used to get frustrated at myself, or I would go out and not feel as good as I wanted to feel on
Yeah.
that run. And there would be a variety of things that would make me angry. And then the next day, I would then think, right, I need to get revenge on that rubbish run I did. And then you try harder and you fail again,
Hmm.
and so on and so forth. And then it snowballs, you get momentum. And that's kind of, I think, where, especially with newer runners, when there's a lack of understanding of the training process, that's where the whole love hate thing comes. I
Yeah.
think as you grow, do more training plans, do more training, start to understand your body better, you have less of those moments because you kind of you can read your body better. So
Yeah.
if you wake up and go, well, I've got this session today, but actually I feel like rubbish, then you kind of back off from that straight away. You swap your plan around, maybe you do a different run and save your
Yeah.
session for a better day. Then that excludes that hate because you never feel it, because you're not putting yourself through something that maybe your body's not ready for. So I
Yeah.
kind of feel like, don't get me wrong, I still have days when I might get a bit frustrated, but they're few and far between. I do feel like the whole love hate thing is very much a case
Yeah.
of when you're newer, lack of understanding. Why aren't I progressing faster? The key to running and improvement, and
Mm.
this applies to everything in life, is just consistency. That's all it is. It's
Yeah.
just turning up and getting it done. It's the same with everything else in life. And I think people want shortcuts to get quicker, and it
Yeah.
doesn't work like that. You've just got to be patient.
No, that's a really good point because it is going to be different. And I think as you progress, whether it's experience or time on feet, over years, it's not necessarily that you don't hate it anymore. It's about, making that margin smaller and smaller, right? Or,
Yeah, exactly.
separating away from that. Because I guess the other point around that, and you kind of touched on it, was around the mindset. But, I mean, for me, when I'm out running, I'm a lot of the time, when especially those long runs, I'm facing demons, whether it's facing the demon of the run or you're just dealing with frustrations of anything else. And it's a
Mm.
great way to just let loose and get things, or just have a conversation with yourself. Do you ever find that it's more you're using the runs to maybe deal with other things in life or through frustration, and that's enabling you to push through? Or are you more fighting the actual battle of the run itself?
That's a brilliant question. I love that. I mean, I only get that on the long run. That's the
Yeah.
only time I
Yeah.
get those runs. So in speed workouts and things, I'll just get frustrated if I'm not hitting pace. That's it. But on the long run, you've just got more time to think. You're
Yeah.
going longer, and I think if I think the best way to say it is, if I'm not fueled properly, or if energy levels are lacking due to stress, work, whatever else, then and I get halfway round and I know there's no turning back,
Yeah.
I've got to finish. That's when I have mental battles with myself and I'm battling the run. So it's not anything else going on in my
Yeah.
head. It's just me versus step by step by step, and I make sure I do my best to pick routes,
Mm.
if I can, that don't allow me a shortcut home. So
Ah, nice.
I will always try to ensure that I finish, because ultimately there will be a mental battle.
Yeah.
Now, if I am well fueled and I am feeling fresh and I'm good, but there are other stresses going on in my life, then sometimes I fight battles with the run with other things that are going on
Yeah.
in my head.
Yep.
And that might be, I end up randomly, I might think, no, I need to go faster. I need to feel my lungs
Yep.
burn because I'm really frustrated at this, that,
Yep.
and the other. So I definitely feel there's like two elements to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I'm freshly fueled and ready to go, I tend to be battling other things. But when I'm under fueled and I'm not ready for it that day, and then I am 100% battling the run.
Mate, this stuff, it gives me the goosebumps because I know the feeling as well, and it it really is emotional. I think
Oh,
like
crazy
I
emotional.
tell people that a lot of the I'm always going on like a broken record on my running videos talking about people just don't get it when you can go out and do a 2 hour long run. You've done a marathon before, but the 2 hour long run, it just breaks you, and you get it done, and then you feel like $1,000,000, and there's the
Yeah.
tears, the emotion, and
Yeah.
there's no way to really describe it other than what you've kind of described. But until you do it, you just don't
Yeah.
get it. Like,
There's
it's
no way you can go to the well and back, and you can have the darkest thoughts,
yeah,
and you can have everything, and that's your body really trying to
yeah,
say stop, and it's mind over matter. And when you win over your body, like you said, you feel
yeah.
$1,000,000. It's just the best feeling in the world.
And I'm probably jumping ahead, but do you? And I won't try and dive in too much. But do you find, because of that, that it enables you to grow in other parts of your life, like whether it's the business, with the family, because it's you're getting things off the weight, or you're just breaking through, or you're just coming more self-aware.
I tell you what, it's done, especially over the last sort of 6.5 years, is that going through those types of runs makes you realize that you are much stronger than you think you are.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like when you face things in life, rather than procrastination. I mean, don't get me wrong, lots of us procrastinate. I'm
Yeah.
guilty as heck,
Yeah.
but there are occasions which I would have sacked off a situation because I did not want to deal with it, and I
Yeah.
just go, do you know what? You've been through far worse.
Yeah.
Actually, on the weekend, you felt like you wanted to do some crazy things to yourself because
Yeah.
of that long run, and so you know that actually your body and mind can go through much more, and
Yeah.
then you realize how trivial those things are because you
Yeah.
deal with those things, and you go, wow, that wasn't hard. I was making that much worse in my head. So yeah, 100%. It helps with decision making. It helps with being more efficient. I find it.
Yeah.
It certainly helps me snap out of that procrastination phase.
Oh, that's beautiful. And to sum it up, it's like the beauty of the run, right? Or the beauty of the long run, because it really is. It's I love to do them on the Sundays, and it's kind of like, I like to
Yeah,
think it's kind of like my church. It's kind of like
yeah,
just a chance where you can just dig deep, and have those really
hmm
intimate moments with yourself. And for
yeah.
anyone that hasn't done this or isn't running, trust me, if you ever get to it, you'll thank me later, because it's life-changing stuff.
Oh
Um,
man, definitely.
and with that, then, so I guess, just while we're still talking more on the pure running, is, so why do you keep showing up then? Like, why do you keep doing it? If I mean, obviously, I think I already have the answer because you've kind of mentioned it. But like, with all these
Yeah,
demons, all these challenges, the goals, and you achieve the goal, and then you get to the next goal. Why keep showing up?
I think there's there's lots of little micro reasons, but the main reason for me is that I just feel like I have more to give, and I
Yep.
think I want to make sure that when I'm not in a position to run, um, that I've given everything I can.
Yep.
I never, and I say this to Matt and James and Lee and whoever I
Yeah.
run with. There's often times when we're doing a workout or on a moderate run, and I look at my watch and I check my pace and I go, wow, I am running at this pace and I am breathing easy. I'm so grateful. And I think for me, that knowing that there's more to give, that
Yep.
hopefully in another year's time that pace will be even quicker,
Yeah.
is something that drives me. But I mean, there's lots of other factors mixed in, like
Yeah.
so many little ones, proving people wrong. I mean, it's petty, but I love
Yeah.
to, I am 6'6". I am
Yeah.
not an orthodox running. I have a very awkward running style. I'm not a standard runner. I just kind of feel like the odds are stacked against people like myself and so many others
Yep.
who are not 5'6",
Yep.
60 kilos,
Yeah.
and
The perfect running
there's
machine.
exactly like there's so like 90% of us are not
Yeah.
that. And so for me, I have a point to prove.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's loads of little things that just add up, but more often than not, and I see it in your videos too, like I am so lucky to live where I live,
Yeah.
having the trails, having the forest, having the wildlife. There is nothing more that I would rather do
Yeah.
than get up and get in that forest and have time to myself. It's like like you said, it's like the church
Yeah.
of your week. For me, it's like a meditate.
Yeah.
I love the concept, although I don't meditate. I love the
Yeah.
concept of being by myself,
Yeah.
with nature. Does that make sense?
Oh, it
So
makes complete sense. It's there's
it's a
two
beautiful
things.
thing.
Yeah, there's two things I'll say to that. It's like, when you get into that meditative state of like you get into a trance and you get to the
Yeah,
end and you're
exactly.
just like, wait, what happened? Like, and
Yeah.
you just
How did I
zone
get
out.
from here to here? What
Yeah,
happened?
it's like those ones are the best long runs, and they're the ones that you're not really dealing with the demons, but you just get into that trance. But the
Yeah.
other thing to that is, the way I like to think about, how you've kind of just said about why you keep showing up, and I guess maybe if I play it back to you, is it's kind of like when you're driving down the road and you see some older person, let's say they look 70, and then they are running and jogging. You think, when I grow up, I
Yeah.
want to be like that guy,
That's
right?
exactly. I would love to be as fit as you. You watch these kind of masters races and
Yeah.
age group races, and people are like 80, 90, 100 years old doing 100-meter sprints. And I'm thinking, damn, that's what I want to do when I'm your age. I'd love to be like that.
It's so inspiring. I just drive and I see anyone running and I'm like, yeah, like I
Yeah.
just feel I feel the
Yeah.
excitement. So no,
Definitely.
look, I mean, we could chat hours on this, I know, and I know a lot of people listening who are runners would probably say the same, but that's it's really, really encouraging to hear everything that you've just said. But with that
Mm,
in mind, let's talk about you, the ever evolving FOD runner, on YouTube. And you've been doing YouTube for a while, and that's where I met you, and it's been an awesome journey to see you to grow. And from someone that's been uploading couch run reviews, as I would like to say, to now rising. Last time I looked, I think you were at 12,000 subs. Correct me if it's more than that now,
mm.
but and that's happened, what, probably in the span of, must be 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, yeah, 6 years. My channel
Crazy.
started in 2015. Yeah,
The same time when you kind of started your journey. And
yeah.
it's been an absolute honor and pleasure to be able to see you do that. But let's dive into that. So so at what point, why start YouTube, why start doing the running videos? Was it just to keep yourself honest, or yeah, how did that all start?
Watching sort of Sage Canada and Ginger Runner. So when I started to, as I said earlier, like understand running and learn, I watched Sage's videos, and then I found Ethan, the Ginger Runner's
Yeah.
videos, and I was just so inspired. And I thought to myself, I live in the most incredible place in the world.
Yeah.
Like I feel I
Yeah.
do. I need to show this off. I need to
Yeah.
showcase this. So I got my wife very kindly went and bought me like a £30 action camera from Argos or some shop and gave it to me, and I just started filming my runs. And my first few runs are literally just that. It's just me pointing a camera at the
Yeah.
forest, and I think I've filmed a couple of half marathons, some coastal runs, and that's, it was very casual. And then I thought to myself, well, actually, I have a passion for for understanding running, for
Yeah.
following other people's journeys. I'm loving following other people's journeys on YouTube, on Facebook, Twitter, whatever it was. I want to document my running journey
Yeah.
too, because I know the pleasure I get from
Yeah.
watching people's weekly training series, reading about it, blah, blah. I'm fascinated. So it doesn't matter speed, where you are in the world. I just love to know people's journeys. I think running brings people
Yeah.
together, and so I just started documenting it, and that's where it started. And it was like we met each other, as you said,
Yeah.
on YouTube. We were both extremely embryotic in terms of, I think you had 20 subs, I had 30 or 40.
Yeah.
We were both really, really micro creators, and then from there, like both of us, we've just kind of just like evolved massively
Yeah.
over time. And that's all I did, just keep going. Persistence and consistency, that's, as I said earlier, same
Yeah.
with running, same with everything in life. It
It,
gets you places.
it's always interesting, with hindsight, that when you reflect on running, of how relevant it is for parallels of life, right? Whether it's
Mm,
just putting in the reps, or doing the daily, or that consistency, persistence, and perseverance over time. Because and coming back to that procrastination, it's crazy how much we think, oh, I can't do this, and you're thinking, well, yeah, but I just did a 2 hour long run, and how that can
yeah.
apply into life so much. But no, the YouTube, it's been amazing to see you evolve. And I mean, if you had to summarize your YouTube for anyone that's coming in cold and has no idea who you are and what you're doing, how would you kind of I guess pitch your YouTube channel? What is it about?
I'm a very average person sharing my running journey to people that might want to join in and follow along. I share training tips, I share my training log itself. So we go through weekly training series. I do shoe reviews. I do
Yeah.
how-to videos. I do everything running related. And hopefully I do it in my opinion, the best place in the world, which is the Forest of Dean.
Fair enough. No, that's true. And I think to give people some better understanding, you need to go check it out for themselves, yourself, obviously. And all these links are in the show notes below. But so for an example, what's your current goal that you're working on?
At the moment, I'm training for a sub 73 half marathon. So, sorry, sub 74 half marathon. So that's the goal. My last training series was a sub 240
Yep.
marathon. Didn't quite achieve that. Had incredible training build up, hit everything for 19 weeks, and sadly, race day just didn't go to plan for whatever reason. It happened, and
Yep.
it's the problem we have in the UK is we have really cold winters and then spring comes, the temperature rises. We're not good at adapting to that sort of stuff. We had a really hot day and I trained for 19 weeks in the freezing cold mornings with gloves and a hat on. So, it wasn't to be, but now I'm privileged that we've
Yep.
got some good weather at the moment and I'm training through the summer for an autumn half marathon. So yeah, it's just continually documenting whatever goal we have coming up really.
Yeah, so for a sub 74 half marathon, which I'm just digesting that, so when you're documenting the training, what does that even look like? What are you sharing? If people are jumping on over, what are they expected to see?
So I'm taking my channel is revolves around my GoPro.
Yep.
Basically, that's all I have on my iPhone, and that's it. So my GoPro is my YouTube channel, and I take that with me on every single run. And so I take you guys out on each run, talk to you about what I'm doing that week, the paces that I'm trying to hit, how the workouts go, if I'm struggling with anything, injuries, stress outside, and try and also share tips like warm up tips, activations for muscles, which I did a lot of that in my
Yeah.
last marathon training series. So I basically take you through the full week journey
Yep.
and put it in a playlist. And I'm even having now people coming back to me and saying, right, we're rewatching your sub 240 training for our autumn marathon coming up, which is awesome because
Yeah.
like I love the fact that that's now there archived and it's also there for me to go back
Yeah.
and check out as well, like kind of re-review training. So yeah, for anyone new coming in, I literally take the camera out on every single run.
You really do build like this really cool repository of or assets of some sense, because I don't know if you know Tim Ferris. He's the 4 Hour Work Week, and then he's got his book The 4 Hour
Yes.
Body, and he's got a whole bunch of other books, Tools of Titans. And he's a massive journaler, and what he used to do is anytime he would document everything that he's doing every day. And let's say he was trying to get a six pack, and if he wants to get a six pack again, he can go back to his journal entry of 1997 when he had his six pack, when he was his fittest, go back 12 weeks before that, and then just follow what he was doing for those 12 weeks in lead up, right?
Mm.
So for you now, if you ever want to go, oh, how did I train for this, you can just kind of pick it up, reflect,
Yeah,
see,
exactly.
adjust. And but for anyone else, they can come along and do that. And I'm the first one, I can say firsthand that seeing your training series evolve over the years. They started off very simple and all the
Yeah.
basics, but then as you've progressed, and as you've obviously taken on bigger goals, you've started to get to injuries. How are you doing that? I remember you take your camera in when you go into the physio, into the gym, and
Yeah.
you've got them doing their work on you and showing in the misalignments in the back, and all
Yeah.
that stuff, because that is all reality that people are going to go through. Well, I hope no one does, but I'm sorry, that's it's the
It's
reality of it.
life. It's life. Yeah,
and
definitely.
and to
Definitely.
see it, what to expect, obviously it's not going to be the same situation for everyone else, but to see what it's going to be like, get an understanding, and then the next time you do it, you've learned something from that training series, you can apply something better. And I that in itself, like, you can go pay someone. I'm not saying people shouldn't go pay someone, but you can
Yeah.
go pay someone and you're going to get some really hands-on training. But if you're just starting, there's so much value on someone's channel like Andy's or anyone's that's doing this kind of running journey and documenting it, because you're getting a first-hand glimpse or experience of what people are doing. And you know I mean, kudos, dude, because I know you're just out doing what you're doing, but in itself, you're creating something which is actually really hard to create if you were trying to create it without doing it, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually quite, yeah, it's Yeah, people go
I
go
t-
check
I, I, t-
go
I
check
tell
it
you
out.
what, like with YouTube, it's like so back the all the youngsters would probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but YouTube for me is like Encarta 97,
Wow.
what I used to have on my computer.
Whew.
So like yeah, so is that rolling back the years? So
Yeah.
like where my some of my first computers. For those people who don't know, Encarta was a CD you could put in your computer, and it was like the font of all knowledge. Like you could learn everything off Encarta. And although YouTube, you have to kind of understand is people's opinions and don't believe everything you see on the internet. What you do have on YouTube is a massive collection of
Yeah.
knowledge that you can just start to pick from, and then when you want to get more specific, you can kind of start to home in and, like you said, pay someone for a
Yeah.
more specific service. But you can find out so much great generic information on YouTube that the likes of Encarta would no longer be required. But that's what it is like to me. Like
Yeah.
YouTube is where I spend my life learning,
Yeah.
understanding, reading, watching. You know what I mean? So that's how I like to see
Yeah.
it anyway.
No, it makes complete sense, and it's a really good segue because there's some more areas I want to touch on the YouTube. So for you, I remember, I think you weren't really doing shoe reviews prior to hitting 1,000 subscribers. I
No.
think once you hit the 1,000, you were doing what you're doing, still doing really great content. But you know, I don't know for you, have you ever had a goal for YouTube? Like I know you've kind of just did it, just started, but there's always that chase, and I'm still chasing it, getting
Yeah.
to that 1,000. But do you think, once you hit that 1,000, was it kind of like, oh, I want to be somewhere else, or did that change?
Yeah, it's a really, it's a really good question, and actually, you're going to be really disappointed with my attitude. In the beginning,
Yeah,
there was a chase,
yeah,
and I got to 1,000, and I had actually done. So I went to the Asics shop, and that's where I got my shoes from, and I
yeah,
bought some really old shoes, and I actually did some really, really old shoe reviews because I watched Ethan's Ginger Runner, but they never
yep,
got any traction.
yep,
And I then got to around 2,000 subscribers, and I bought myself some Nike Zoom flies,
yeah,
and I reviewed them, and it blew up. And then I just didn't think anything of it, and I left it for another 6 months, and I got some Zoom Fly threes, and I reviewed that, and that blew up even more. I think I got like 5,000
yeah,
views. And when I had 2,000 subscribers, that was just unheard of. And I thought to myself, okay, I like that. The next video, I'm going to do a workout in the Zoom Fly
yeah,
3. So I'm going to have two back to back, and that one blew up. And then you go, okay. So then for the next year, realistically, and I put my hands up and say it, I spent a lot of my time doing shoe reviews because
yeah,
I realized that they got more traction than anything else, and it
yeah,
will help my channel grow. And then I spent a lot of time on my channel, more shoe reviews and training
yep,
and anything else. And I got to sort of November, December last year, and I just sat down with my head in my hands and I went, do you know what? I love shoes and I love shoe reviews and I'm so passionate about it, but I've come so far away
yeah,
from what my channel was ever set up to do that I need to nip this in the bud. I need to
yeah,
get a better balance. I need to do my shoe reviews because I love them, but the balance is so wrong.
yeah,
So I made a pact with myself in December last year that actually I'm going to take shoes above and beyond 100 miles. So for the
yeah,
people listening that are new, I review them. I do a first impressions, a speed and long run test, and after 100 miles. I
yeah,
thought, no, we need to go further than this. There's a niche on YouTube here that no one is going past 100 miles. We need some bigger reviews.
hmm,
And that's what I've set myself to do. I've set myself a goal this year to review more shoes over that. And so I've bought this time last year 4 or 5 less pairs this year
yeah,
compared to last year. I've got a much better balance on the channel, and guess what? My growth has slowed down considerably.
yeah,
And do I give a monkeys? No, because I have a smile on my face when I do it, and
yeah,
I'm loving it. And this week I haven't put out any videos yet as of Wednesday when we're recording this. I normally do 3 a week,
yeah,
and I'm just not stressing about it. Whereas before, because life takes over. And
yeah,
before, I'd be like, I need to get a video out. What can I do? What
yeah,
comparison can I do? What shoe can I buy? And now I'm just like, no, you've got a plan. You're enjoying your content. Make it when you make it. You can
yeah.
increase the volume of videos when life allows, but keep a smile on your face building it. So yeah, to be honest with you, it has decreased in terms of its sort of growth. It's
Yeah,
still growing, don't get me wrong, but the
yeah,
speed of it is slowed down. And that's fine by me, because I say to anyone with a YouTube channel, the number one priority is enjoy what
yeah.
you do, and do not let it take over. Unless it's your job, don't let it take over life, because it was taking over my life, and I need to take a step back and realize that this is a hobby and this is fun and this is how I want it to stay. And for the longevity of the
Yeah.
channel, I need to keep smiling when I make my videos.
Wow, all the nuggets. I mean, I was going to ask so many different things, but you kind of just you answered them already, which is really, really good. And
Dropped it
anyone,
all in one go.
yeah, it's really good, right? Because and I can speak firsthand on it because I'm not at the 1,000 and I'm chasing the 1,000 because once I get that, I feel like yeah, but then I can't even fathom what's next because I don't know what's next. Because well, probably the monetization, to be honest, anyone listening, but
Yeah.
after that, it once again, there's always going to be that next best thing. It is like with running as well. It becomes quite addictive. Is you're going, you do your marathon, you train for it. You're in the middle of the marathon. You're like, why the heck am I doing this? You finish the marathon. You're like, okay, what can I sign up to next? Or I
Yeah,
want to do it again.
exactly.
And it is that roller coaster, and which is good and that's healthy. But at the same time, having that self awareness of what you've done and being able to identify and see what is healthy, what isn't, and going away from what you originally intended, that takes a lot of
Mm.
guts to do because it's a scary thing. Now you are at 12,000 subscribers, which is crazy, but I think it was only a year ago you were half that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
which
think the last couple of years it's blown properly. So it was
which
very slow
whew,
growth, and then it went bang.
I can't even, once again, I can't even fathom it because growing up together and then, you kind of took off a bit more. And then, you were at 1,000, you're at 2,000, you're at 3,000. And it took you what? So it took you 4 years to probably get to 1,000. And
Yeah,
then
oh yeah.
it's only taken 2 years to get to 12,000, which is just,
Yeah.
just incredible, right? And obviously it speaks for itself. And for anyone that's listening in the YouTube game, it comes back to that consistency. But regardless if you're at 1,000 or 100,000, you're always going to have that chase for something bigger. And I think you've summed it up really, really well. And it's a reality check for me of understanding, well, what are you trying to create? What's your purpose here?
Yeah.
What's your game? Because if it is just to get to the volumes of numbers, or unless it is for a business, it's a bit different. But again, it becomes quite overwhelming, and it just becomes that battle of getting more subs, getting more likes, getting more time.
Yeah. And
Um,
and that
yeah,
that I feel is uh I'm not gonna you okay, I think the best way to describe it is you can either play the game or you don't play the game.
yeah,
And if you play the game, you can blow your channel. I know right now, and I could guarantee you, if you said to me, Andy, you have a year, get 10,000 subscribers, I would put my house on it that I could do it,
yeah,
because I know how to play the game. I know now. I didn't then. I know now,
yeah,
because I've had that growth in 2 years. I've grown 6,000. I think in one year it was
yeah,
6 or 7,000 in a year. I know now how to play the game. I'm choosing not to play the game. And
yeah,
I know for so many people, they would say, why? Why don't you? Because I love being able to respond to every comment. I know there will come a time when I can't,
yeah,
and it's getting tough now. I'm not going to lie, but I know that there will come a time when I can't. And as I said, I want to keep a smile on my face. I've got so much else going on in life.
yeah,
If I dedicate my time to this as well, something else is going to be sacrificed. And right now,
yeah,
that's going to be family time. And I'm not prepared to sacrifice family time for that
yeah,
yet. I'm not saying never, but I'm at this moment in time, I'm not ready to play the game. At some point, I might, but
yeah,
now is not the time. I'm just loving making content, man, and I love doing what I'm doing, and that for me is passion. And if at some point I go, do you know what, right, New Year's resolution, I want to take this and I want to turn it
yeah,
into work, then fine. But right now, I'm just taking a step
yeah,
back and making what I want to make. But yeah, I think there's always the chase. The chase is always there, the thrill of the chase as well. I got hooked up in that. But sometimes you need to take a step back and go, am I being caught up in the
yeah,
chase? You can see, I tell you this for nothing, there's been some scandals on YouTube with various YouTubers, and I don't condone anything that any YouTuber ever does,
yeah,
but I can see how they get caught in the chase. Put
yeah.
it that way. It's
Yeah, no,
very easy to
it's
do.
it becomes a slippery slope, as I would like to say.
Yeah.
But you've kind of segued it really well because you've said, the reason why you're doing that is because of life and everything that's
Mm.
happening. And let's dive into that for a bit because at the start of this, you mentioned obviously you have a family, you've got multiple businesses, and you've got life in general as like anyone does. So juggling the running, obviously you've said you like to do that usually in the morning, but you can be flexible with it as it comes, depending on what life gives. But you do, I mean, do you want to touch on about, you do have multiple businesses. You're not just a guy that's into running, you're into a lot of different things as well. Do you want to talk a bit about, the work-life balance as well?
Yeah, I mean, I do my best to get up super early in the morning. So alarms are set at the moment between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. Get up,
Yep.
get out the door, get my run, enjoy it. I'm not going to say get my run done because that makes it sound like it's a chore, and it's not. It's
Yep.
always a pleasure. But once I've completed my run and I'm home and I've done the school run and stuff, then my day can start. And then yeah, I've got my website design business, which is my main business. I then have virtual running events, which um, you guys will be listening on audio, but on the camera behind me, I have a load of medals. We
Yep.
create medals for runners and running events, which is great because I can combine a passion with a hobby. And my wife does the lion's share of the work in that business. I help out, but she's really enjoying that too. So
Yep.
we tag team that one. And then she has her own business, which is a local business directory, pushing local businesses, which we're both very passionate about, supporting local, all of that sort of stuff. So I help with that. So between us, we've got the three businesses plus um, our family, the kids. We've got three kids, who are incredible. We have each other, and just trying to do other bits and pieces outside. I try and do bits and pieces with music every now and again because I love playing my guitar and my bass and listening
Yep.
to music and just and doing a bit of flipping like you
Yep.
are. I'm obviously intrigued as to what you're doing and watching what you're doing and trying dabbling a little bit myself. So yeah, it's I kind of feel like going back a little step with YouTube, when you get caught
Yeah.
in the game, all your eggs are in that basket.
Yeah.
And I quite like to have multiple eggs in multiple baskets, but
Yeah.
not just from a business perspective in life, because I just feel it's healthy.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to achieve this year, a better
Yeah.
all round balance.
Well, I mean, dude, I mean, it- you're doing so much, right? And I think sometimes we don't realize what's going on in people's lives, right? And whether it's a really good stuff or people have it rough. But from a surface level, people are seeing that you're a runner. You're the FOD runner. That's what people see. You're all about running. But a lot of people won't know that you've got the
Mm,
three different businesses, that you've got three kids, and to have three kids is a handful. I mean, I don't have kids, but I can
yeah,
only imagine. I've got my nephews that live with us, and then to have three businesses, I mean, that in itself, I mean, to have one business of your own is, that's a big thumbs up. To have three, dude,
yeah,
you're absolutely killing it. So I think people need to understand that we've all got a story, that we're not necessarily always sharing, and you just never really know what's happening behind the scenes. So kudos for that. And I think it's really a
thank you, mate.
smart advice or encouraging advice to hear that having that work-life balance, having your hands in multiple things, which are sensible. It's not like you're, maybe you are burning the midnight oil, but you're doing it in a way that you're happy, that you're passionate about, and obviously, you have your goals and things in mind, whether it's financial life and all that jazz. But it just goes to show also that when people are complaining that they don't have time for this, they can't do this. You've got three businesses, you've got three kids,
Mm,
you've got a wife, and you're doing these running journeys. 12,000 subs on YouTube. So, mate, you're a perfect example of like you know what you're doing. What I'd like to say, how to further your lifestyle,
yeah.
because on that value, what you've kind of gone into, that's just crazy. Like, and
Mm,
you could literally just, you could go all in one of these areas, and look, maybe it will blow up or maybe it wouldn't, but to have that, even that opportunity, even in
yeah.
the longer run, that's really, really cool, dude. I mean when
I,
I
th- I think I think multiple baskets allows you to not burn out.
yeah, yeah,
And like you say, you do sometimes burn the midnight oil,
yeah,
but if you go all in on something, I'm not against going all because I do myself go all in on a lot of stuff. But
yeah,
if you do have multiple things, it's very easy to take a step back and go and sink into something else. Whereas if my life was consumed by
yeah,
running and everything was running, if I was injured or if I take a step
yeah,
back and go, do you know what? I'm quite tired of running at the moment. I just need a week off. You'd
yeah,
just be sit there scratching your head going, what can I do? Whereas at the moment, I can go, well, actually, let's start tinkering a little bit more with the buying and selling, the flipping. Why don't you just
yeah,
get the guitar out and have a
yeah,
jam on the guitar, or take the kids down the park, or just it. I feel like it helps your mental
yeah.
sort of state,
And
really.
No, I totally agree. Was there ever a point where, other than the YouTube stuff where you've kind of touched on where you were getting a bit heavy on that, but did you ever find maybe before all these businesses that, you realized that you were just all focused on one thing and you had to, or have you always had those multiple things happening?
Yeah, I'm a very obsessive person. So
Okay.
when I dive into something, I dive into it 100%. And what actually this allows me to do, having multiple things, is to not do that because I
Splits it.
feel,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it's unhealthy. I feel like it can be really good. And you look at the top pros and the top people in anything, they're obsessed with what they're doing. And I genuinely, it sounds weird, I believe that I have that in me
Yeah.
to make it to the top of something if I wanted to, because I've got that drive and desire. I know that if I focus, if I could run all the time, I would put
Mm,
120 miles in a week. I have no qualms about doing that, but I think having multiple things allows, like, my life at the moment with the family and the kids, that's not healthy for me to
yeah.
go in all in on something or be obsessive. So having multiple things allows me to split those obsessions up, take a step back, be calmer, and actually appreciate what I'm doing for the sake of it. Do you know what I did the other day? Really random. I used to collect Warhammer, which is something that I used to do, man,
Wow.
like 20 years ago.
Wow.
I bought myself some Warhammer off the internet. I thought, sod it, I'm just gonna roll back the years and sit there and paint some models because I want a bit of peaceful time. And I did. I put the kids to bed, did a few chores, sat down at 9:30 at night, started making these models. I just thought it was so random,
Yeah.
but I need that. I need that, something different. All right, that's might be a
Yeah.
flash in the pan, but it was just fun because I
Yeah.
used to do it and I wanted, and it brought back that joy. Now I won't get obsessive about it, but I've got something there extra that I can do if I want to. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just the
totally.
balance is right.
It's so good. No, I totally agree because there's so many things that I love doing, and there's obviously so much that I share, and then there's all little things that I'm doing on the side, and it makes me smile so much to hear that because I have those moments all the time. When I can, I would go metal detecting, or when I can, I would go fishing, or when I
Oh,
can,
that's so fun.
all the different things, and in the back of your mind, you're like, oh. What if I just did this full time? Or you could
Yeah,
literally make YouTube channels about Warhammer. I mean, that's an
yeah,
easy one, but having that ability also to, pull back and just think, hang on, because yeah, it's dude, you're an amazing man because you're doing a lot of things with, you're how do I say this? There's so many things that you're potentially missing out on, but you're
yeah,
doing it in a way so you're not missing out and still very, very happy, which
yeah.
that's
Exactly.
that's a really good balance and a really good control that you have because that's not easy. That's
No,
wow. I'm
it,
inspired.
cool. No, I mean, it's just, I guess it's something that, do you know what? What got me to that point was probably taking a step back from YouTube and going, do you know what? You need a better
Yeah.
balance. There was nothing. It was nothing wrong, and I wasn't doing anything. Like, my family wasn't suffering for it. My because I was just spending more time on that. Whereas at the
Yeah.
moment, my time is now spread out over multiple things. But I just kind of got towards the end of last year, and I thought to myself, "You're just making
Yeah.
videos for the sake of making videos now, actually." And
Yeah.
and where are you showing the Forest of Dean? You've sat in your kitchen for the last 4 videos talking about shoes. Like, this isn't. Feel free to do that twice a week,
Yeah.
but 4 times in a week. Do you really need to do that? No,
Yeah.
you're just knocking videos out for the sake of it. So that's what I mean. It's like, do you play the game? Do you not play the game? Right now, I'm not in a position to. Maybe later I might play the game,
Yeah.
but right now I'm enjoying taking a step
Yeah.
back this year. 2021, the pandemic taught me to just relax and
Yeah.
enjoy the finer things and
Yeah.
not get so obsessive. And I'm loving 2021 so far.
So many nuggets, mate. I could talk about this for hours, but
I know, I mean,
anxious of time. So the next thing then, and you kind of already alluded to it. So what's your current focus for the rest of the year? With everything that you're doing, what's really the focus for the rest of 21?
just to run strong. Like,
Yep.
running is still my number one priority, and I want to
Yep.
train well, train smart, hopefully achieve my half marathon goal, and just keep the ball rolling. Like, I do have plans to keep gently increasing my mileage, but
Yep.
I don't run the highest mileage in the world.
Yep.
I run around 50 to 60 mile weeks, which
Yep.
compared to a lot of people is high, and compared to a lot of people is very low.
Right.
Loads of people say to me, "Why don't you just chuck in a few extra runs? Why don't you just Do you know what? I actually could. I could put in 100-mile weeks, but have I got the energy to balance everything
Yeah,
else in my life? No, not a
yeah,
chance in hell have I can I do that. So just keep running strong, keep training smart, and enjoying everything else around it. And then who knows what 2022 will bring. I might find that 2021 was the perfect reset
yeah,
that I needed to then refocus and go all in on something. But I've been all in on my YouTube channel, growing it to the point
yeah,
it has for the last 2 years. I'm quite content now to take a step back. I think we've talked about this in private.
yeah,
There were times when my channel was gaining 700-800 subscribers a month,
yeah.
and I was like, "Am I mad?" Like, I'm looking at that figure daily. Is it going up? Is it going up? Is it going? And now I'm. I think I checked a couple of days ago, and it
Yeah,
said you've gained 245 subscribers this month, and it's like, do I care? No. But last year I would have cared
yeah,
massively, and I feel like I'm in so much better headspace with that. So yeah, just continue to do what I'm doing right now this year, and then maybe reassess next year
yeah,
and see if I'm enjoying this lifestyle. If I'm enjoying tinkering loads of stuff, I'll keep going. There's no
yeah.
pressure. Just keep enjoying it and just be grateful to be able to put foot in front of the other, because there's so many people that can't.
Amazing, amazing stuff. So many nuggets. I'm loving it. All
Yeah.
right. And so let's jump into the rapid fire questions and try and
Yeah.
keep these short and sweet. Obviously, if there
Yeah.
is some value points you want to add, by all means, please do. But the first one is favorite book or podcast you have read or listened to.
Okay, books. I'm a bit of a Harry Potter fan, so I love the
Nice.
Harry Potter books. They're the best. In terms of podcasts, I mainly listen to running podcasts.
Yep.
In terms of a favorite one, I love A Runner's Life podcast by
Yep.
Marcus. I was on that a few months ago. He's got some great guests. He's a lovely, lovely guy. I also listen to lots of other random running podcasts, but I've got to say his kind of does stand out for me.
Nice, nice. Advice for someone who wants to start running.
Oh, ditch the technology. You know, I have this battle all the time. I started with a Casio stopwatch, and that's the best thing I can
Hmm,
recommend. Don't be the person with all the gear and no idea. Just
that's true.
go out there and enjoy it. Just literally don't worry about training plans. Don't worry about anything.
Yeah,
If you want to start running, start it because you want to enjoy it. So get a
that's really good.
stopwatch, time yourself, start and stop, or even if you don't even fancy a stopwatch, just go run. And
Yeah,
then as time progresses, get more serious. But if you're starting out, hell, just man, get out the front door and enjoy it. Go for a run
yeah.
and don't worry about anything else.
Some great wisdom there. One strength you have and one weakness you have.
I think my mental focus is my strength. Like if I put my mind to something, I will do it, and I've proved so many people wrong in my
Yeah,
life. Whether that's starting businesses, whether that's my running journey, whatever it might be. So definitely mental strength.
yeah.
A weakness. This might be quite deep, or might go off tangent a little bit.
That's all right.
Um, and I wouldn't say it's a disorder, but food. And I know that
Wow.
sound. I know that that's really true. I know that's.
I
I know
wasn't
that's.
expecting it.
No, I know. I know that's really trivial for a lot of people, and a lot of people might think, "What do you mean?" But I battle demons with food. I have an issue, I believe, with eating. I consume far too much food. I know it sounds really stupid, but food is my comfort.
Okay.
So people emotionally deal with things in different ways.
Yep.
Some ways obviously are very sad, and other ways are just other things.
Yep.
I'm an emotional eater,
Wow. Okay.
and I use sometimes I use my running as an excuse to binge eat.
Hmm.
And when I'm not running, I pile on the pounds, and it's something I've had all my life. I
Okay.
find comfort in food, so it's definitely in life my biggest
Wow.
weakness.
Dude, thanks for sharing that because you know you never know what you're gonna get with you.
Loads of people. The thing is, loads of people suffer with it, and I'm not 100% sure I would go as far as saying it's a disorder,
Yeah.
but I would go as far as saying I make very bad choices with food. You know, I can if me and my family have over the last couple of years suffered some very sad news with various family members
Okay.
who are battling illnesses and things. And I'm not afraid to say that I've gone to a shop
Mm.
and filled up probably one or two carrier bags worth of crisps,
Wow.
chocolate, donuts, whatever else. And I've plowed through it of an evening to the point where I've made myself physically sick,
Jeeves.
um, because I've my brain has said to me, this will make you feel better, and
Yeah.
until you're physically sick, you realize it was a really stupid mistake. So I do definitely 100%. There's nothing else in my life that gets
Wow.
to me more than food. That's what I said. It's deep.
Wow.
It's
It's
deep.
deep. It's good, and this is the reality of it, right? So really do appreciate you sharing that, because sometimes it's not always that easy. Plus, once again, I think this just speaks volumes of the type of person you are, because you are such a great person and you're inspiring, very inspiring. And thank you for sharing that. So the
No
next one
worries.
then is, you can only choose one run to do for the rest of your life. What would it be and why?
Long run, without shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
It's the biggest. It's the one you face with all your demons on,
Yeah.
but it's the one where you can spend the most time running. And as far
Yeah.
as I'm concerned, if you're running and you love running, then why would you want to be doing shorter runs? You want to run as far as you can.
Nice. Nah, that's a good answer. This one you've kind of already alluded to, so it might even be short and sweet. But how do you spend your free time? Or let's say you have a day off. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
Uh, music in some way, shape, or form. If the kids and family are there, swimming.
Yep.
We love taking the kids swimming.
Oh, nice.
Go for coffee, go for lunch, whatever. If other than that, I walk on my rest day, so definitely go for a nice walk
Yep.
in the forest. And to be honest with you, probably just spend time with my wife.
Yep.
Although my daughter has recently got me into Fortnite, which I curse her for. So I'm now every now and again. I haven't played it for a couple of weeks, but I am every now and again just finding myself back on the Xbox playing that.
That's all good. Spending time with the kids, right?
Yeah, exactly,
um,
exactly.
the last one then is, three sources of inspiration you have.
YouTube 100% is number one. Like you will, if you need inspiration or I need inspiration, I go to YouTube.
Yep.
It's just the best place. Um, I don't know if I have three, to be honest with you. I
That's
think for
okay.
me, my family is my other
Yep.
inspiration. So I look at my kids and they often say to me, "Why are you running again? Why are you running again?" And I say to them, "Because I want to be better at what I
Yeah.
want to do." And in the beginning, they were like, "Oh, when they were younger, oh, you're so silly." But now I see cogs turning in their
Yep.
brain, kind of like, "Oh, well, if I apply myself to something," and I'm starting to see patterns emerge with them. So it's
Mm.
kind of like I'd love to inspire them. I don't want them to run. I want them to
Yep.
do what they want to do. But if they take that mindset with them, I'd love that. So
Yeah.
my family and definitely number two. I probably don't have a third.
No, that's all right. No, thank you for sharing that. Dude, I mean, we've talked about so many different things, and there's so much in here which I would love to unpack more. And, the one thing I love about doing this is, we chat about so much, but at the same time, it leaves so many curiosity openings for people to come back, go
Yeah.
see what you're doing, ask more questions. And that's what I really do encourage people to do, is go check out, your socials, go check out your YouTube channel. All this is in the show notes below, because I mean, a lot of it is the running, but you've just heard who Andy is, and the type of person that he is. Because you can never judge someone by, what you see, because there's so much more. And, I think that's evident in your YouTube channel and the content you create anyway. But, hearing it all here, it's encouraging, inspiring of the man that you are, and, your values and things that you believe in. So it's been an
Thank you.
absolute honor having you on here. But before we go, um, is there anything that you want to share with the audience? If there was one thing that, if they could take away from this, what would that be?
Yeah, I think if I'm honest with you, multiple eggs in multiple baskets is something that I've really enjoyed this year. If the pandemic's taught us
Yep.
anything, it's that life is too short, and actually, when we are sort of cooped up with restrictions and things like that, it's about using your imagination and creativity. And if that one thing that a lot of us runners struggled with, which was you can only go out once a day, I know restrictions
Yeah.
were different in different places. Some people weren't allowed out at all. If that's taken away from you, what do you have? And I feel like that's why 2021's been so fun for me,
Yeah.
just to dabble in new things and experiment. And it just opens your eyes to, you can get very obsessed with one thing, and I'm not that's a great thing if you have that mental focus. I love being obsessed with things, but at the same time, I'd also love having a healthier mindset of having a broader horizon and
Yeah.
appreciating other hobbies, other things, getting
Yeah.
involved, spending your time, using your brain in other ways. I just
Yeah.
think it's a good thing. So yeah, multiple eggs, multiple baskets is probably a good phrase that's in my life right now.
Yeah. No, that's some great advice. Well, dude, where's the best place for everyone to find you and follow along?
Other than this podcast, obviously, it's going to be YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Strava. All can find me under FOD Runner. So that's
Yep.
FOD space Runner. And that's it. I'm hanging around on those platforms as much as possible to answer comments and
Yeah.
questions and post my journey.
Awesome. Well, folks, you've heard it all here first. Andy's such an amazing guy. And like I said, there's so many things that I would love to chat to Andy more about. And, we do have our banters here and there, but I encourage everyone to go check out his stuff and see what he's doing, because you will be inspired. And dude, a big, big thank you, because, this has been an absolute blessing of an episode.
Thank you so much for having me. I mean, we've taught your listeners. I don't know how much they know, but we have some good history, mate. And
Yeah.
we catch up regularly, and I feel like this is becoming a good habit for us to keep having these regular chats. It's great fun. We might be on the other side of the world, but we've got so much in common, and it's been an absolute pleasure to bump into you in the space of YouTube, and then for that friendship to grow into so many other things. So you've always got my time.
Thank you so much. Well, thanks for listening, folks. And thank you, Andy. Cheers, mate.
Take care.
Well, there you go, folks. What an awesome episode, and how cool is Andy? I really do appreciate Andy coming onto this episode. Simply, I mean, he's a good mate, and I love to be able to have the banter with him, but I'm always inspired and encouraged by his show up and get it done mentality, his attitude, his integrity, and just the strong leader that he represents in all that he's doing. Because what I love so much is a very humble guy. There's a lot of things that he is doing, and we don't always see from behind the scenes what people are doing to show up and get the job done, whether it's with the running, whether it's with building businesses, whether it's just doing life in general. And I think we've touched on it here as well, where it really does come down to mindsets. It comes down to balancing life and really understanding what's important and priority and key in life. And I've really enjoyed just having that conversation, and I've been refreshed, and he's very, very encouraging. So thank you so much, Andy. I really do encourage everyone, go jump over to his socials, go jump over to his YouTube, go support him, go help him out. But if you want to have a conversation, if you had a question for him, go jump into his DMs via Instagram and ask him a question or have a chat. He will do his best to get back to you, and he's a great guy to have a conversation with. So I hope you've taken away something from this episode. I know I've been inspired once again, and it's always great to have friends that you can chat with, yet they continue to speak into your life or influence you or encourage you, and Andy does that to whoever he's chatting to. So go check him out. Really do appreciate you being here. My name's Chris Furlong. I am the host of the Feather Your Lifestyle podcast, and it's been an absolute honor to be able to bridge this conversation between you and Andy. Have a good one.